Black Adam is a 2022 American superhero film starring Dwayne Johnson as the titular character. Based on the DC character Taith Adam/Black Adam, the film is a spin-off from Shazam 2019, and the 11th film in the DC Extended Universe, DCEU. Directed by Jaume Collet-Serra from a screenplay by Adam Cavil, Rory Haynes, and Saurabh Nashirvani, the film follows Taith Adam/Black Adam, an ancient superhuman who is released from his magic imprisonment by a group of archaeologists to free the nation of Kahndaq from the crime syndicate Intergang, whose local leader plans to obtain an ancient relic called the Crown of Sabbac to take control of it. Aldis Hodge, Noah Centineo, Sarah Shahi, Quintessa Swindell, Marwan Kenzari, and Pierce Brosnan appear in supporting roles. Johnson was attached to Shazam early in development and confirmed to portray the villain Black Adam in September 2014, but the producers, at Johnson's urging, later decided to give the character his own film. Cavil was hired in October 2017. Collet-Serra joined in June 2019 with a planned release date of December 2021, but this timeline was delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Additional casting took place over the next year, including 4 members of the Justice Society of America, along with the script being rewritten by Haynes and Nashirvani. Principal photography took place from April to August 2021 at Trilith Studios in Atlanta, Georgia, and also in Los Angeles. Black Adam premiered in Mexico City on October 3, 2022, and was theatrically released in the United States on October 21 to mixed reviews from critics. It failed to break even at the box office, grossing $393 million against a budget of $190 to $260 million. Plot: in 2600 BC, the tyrannical king Atun of Kahndaq enslaves his people to mine the mythical metal Eternium, using it to forge the crown of Sabbac to attain power and invincibility. After attempting to stage an uprising against Atun, a young slave boy is chosen as champion by the Council of Wizards, transforming him into an adult superhero. He kills Atun, ending his reign. In the present day, Kahndaq is oppressed by the criminal organization Intergang, as archaeologist Adriana Thomas tries to locate the crown of Sabbac with her brother Kareem and colleagues Samir and Ishmael. Inside the tomb, Adriana obtains the crown, but the Intergang troops kill Samir. As a last resort, Adriana reads an incantation that awakens the superhuman warrior Taith Adam from slumber. U.S. government official Amanda Waller deems him a threat. After Adam slaughters the Intergang troops, Waller contacts the Justice Society to apprehend him. Justice Society members Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Adam Smasher stop Adam's killing spree and explain to Adriana that Adam was not a savior but an imprisoned killer. Ishmael reveals himself as the leader of Intergang's Kahndaq division as well as the last descendant of Atun and kidnaps Adriana's son Amon, who has hidden the crown. The group finds the crown and gives it back to save Amon. Ishmael attempts to shoot Amon, causing Adam to lose control of his powers, killing Ishmael and wounding Amon. Guilt-ridden, Adam flees and reveals to Hawkman that Kahndaq's champion was actually his late son Hurut, who was killed by Atun's assassins after they killed his mother. Having been given Hurut's powers to save his life, Adam, blinded by grief and rage, murdered Atun and destroyed his palace. Deemed unworthy by the Council of Wizards, Adam killed them all in retaliation except for Shazam, who imprisoned him along with the crown. Feeling unfit of becoming a true hero, Adam surrenders and the Justice Society takes him to a secret underwater Task Force X black site in Antarctica, where Amelia Harcourt places him in stasis. Fate again has a premonition of Hawkman's impending death. The Justice Society realizes Ishmael tricked Adam into killing him to be reborn as Sabbac, the champion of the 6 eponymous demons. When Sabbac summons the legions of hell to terrorize Kahndaq, the Justice Society unsuccessfully attempts to stop Sabbac. Fate believes that Hawkman's death can be avoided with his sacrifice and fights Sabbac alone. Fate uses astral projection to release Adam before he is killed by Sabbac. Meanwhile, Amon, Adriana, and Kareem rally the people to fight the legions of hell. Sabbac overpowers Hawkman, but Adam arrives in time to kill Sabbac, causing the legions of hell to disappear. The Justice Society departs on good terms with Adam, who destroys the old throne in the belief that Kahndaq needs a protector, not a ruler. He adopts a new name, Black Adam. In a mid-credits scene, Waller warns Adam against leaving Kahndaq and sends Superman, who offers to negotiate with him. Cast. Further information, list of DC Extended Universe cast members and characters of the DC Extended Universe. Dwayne Johnson as Taith Adam/Black Adam. A former slave from Kahndaq who was bestowed with the powers of multiple Egyptian gods by his son after he was mortally wounded by King Atun's soldiers. He possesses the stamina of Shu, the swiftness of Hiru, the strength of Aman, the wisdom of Zahudi, the power of Aten, and the courage of Mehan. Benjamin Patterson serves as the body double for Taith Adam in scenes where he is depicted in his human form, with Johnson's face superimposed onto the character for these sequences. The character previously appeared in Shazam 2019, in a brief cameo, during a sequence where the wizard teaches Billy Batson about the previous recipients of his powers. Seven Johnson also voiced the character in a post-credits cameo, ahead of the character's live-action debut, in the unrelated animated film DC League of Super Pets, 2022, in which he also voiced Crypto. 8-9. Aldis Hodge as Carter Hall/Hawkman, the leader of the Justice Society who wields technology and weapons made of nth metal, a substance from another planet. 10-11-12. Noah Centineo as Albert Al Rothstein/Adam Smasher, a young member of the Justice Society, with the meta-human ability to control his molecular structure which manipulates his size and strength. 13-9-14. Sarah Shahi as Adriana Thomas, a university professor and resistance fighter in modern-day Kahndaq, who proves to be an ally for Adam and the Justice Society. 15. Marwan Kenzari as Ishmael Gregor/Sabbac, the last descendant of King Atun and militant leader of the Kahndaq division of the criminal organization Intergang. Unlike Taith Adam, Sabbac was bestowed with the powers of the six most powerful demons of hell: Satan, Im, Belial, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, and Cratius. 16-17-18. Kenzari also portrays Atun, Ishmael's ancestor, and the ancient tyrannical king of Kahndaq, who was killed by Adam. Quintessa Swindell as Maxine Hunkel/Cyclone, a young member of the Justice Society, who was experimented on and injected with nanobot technology at a young age, resulting in her receiving the ability to control and manipulate wind. 1914 as the granddaughter of Abigail Ma Hunkel/Red Tornado, she seeks to live up to her familial superhero legacy. 20 Swindell studied dancing techniques when designing the character's movement. 21. Bodhi Sabangi as Aman Thomas, Adriana's teenage son, who not only befriends Adam, but believes him to be a hero. 22. Pierce Brosnan as Kent Nelson/Dr. Fate, an experienced and senior member of the Justice Society, who wields the helmet of fate and is capable of various sorcery abilities. 12. Nelson is the son of an archaeologist, with whom he discovered the tomb of Nabu the Wise. After attaining a mystic sentient helmet from another dimension, which chooses who it allows to wield it, he mastered his powers and used them as a superhero over many years. 23-14. Brosnan wore a motion capture suit for the role. 24. Additionally, Mohammed Amer portrays Kareem, Adriana's brother, and Aman's uncle. 25-26. And James Cusati Moyer portrays Samir, a colleague of Adriana and Kareem. 27. Jalen Christian appears as Hugh Rudd, Adam's son who becomes the original champion of Kahndaq, deemed pure of heart to wield the powers of Shazam, with his superhero form portrayed by Uli Latukfu. 28. Adlia Halavi portrays Shiruda, Adam's wife who was murdered by Atun's men during the flashback scene set in ancient Kahndaq. 29-14. Henry Winkler cameos as Al Pratt, Rothstein's uncle, who was the previous Adam Smasher. 30. Jimin Hoonsu reprises his role from Shazam. As the Wizard Shazam 1231 and Jennifer Holland reprises her role from The Suicide Squad, 2021, and Peacemaker, 2022, as Emilia Harcourt. 32 Viola Davis and Henry Cavill appear uncredited, reprising their respective DCEU roles as Amanda Waller 33 and Superman. 34-35 This was Cavill's final performance as Superman before it was announced that he would step down from the role. 36. The demon Satan, Belial, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, and Cratius also appear in this film and are voiced by uncredited actors. 17-18. Production. Development. New Line Cinema began the development of a Shazam feature film in the early 2000s, based on the DC Comics character Captain Marvel. The title came from the wizard Shazam, who gives the hero his powers, with DC unable to use the title Captain Marvel due to legal issues. 37 Peter Segal signed on to direct the film in April 2006. 38, and Dwayne Johnson was approached about portraying Captain Marvel later that year. By November 2007, Johnson was also interested in the film's antagonist, Black Adam, and had received positive responses from fans about him possibly playing that character. 39 Development on the film was placed on hold by January 2009. 40 but had begun again by April 2014 when Warner Bros. Pictures, the parent company of New Line, and DC began planning a slate of superhero films for its shared universe, the DC Extended Universe, DCEU. 41 That August, Johnson said he was still attached to the film but had not yet decided if he would play Captain Marvel or Black Adam. 42 A month later, Johnson announced that he would portray Black Adam. 43 Johnson was paid $22.5 million for his involvement. 44. In January 2017, Johnson met with DC's Jeff Johns to discuss the project after studio executives grew concerned that an actor of Johnson's profile was being used as a villain and supporting character in the film instead of starring in it. Following that meeting, they decided to split the project into two films, Shazam 2019, starring the hero Captain Marvel, whom DC had since rebranded as Shazam, and Black Adam, with Johnson starring as the title antihero. 8 Johnson said the two characters would meet on screen in the future. 45 Johns confirmed in July that Johnson would not appear in Shazam, 46 though his likeness is used in that film for a magical hologram of Black Adam conjured by the wizard Shazam. 47. Adam Dykeel was hired to write the screenplay for Black Adam in October 2017, with Johnson set to produce the film with Danny and Hiram Garcia of 7 Bucks Productions along with Beau Flynn of Flynn Picture Co. 48-49 At that time, there were plans for Johnson to first appear as Black Adam in the sequel to Suicide Squad, 2016, which had Gavin O'Connor attached as writer and possible director. The intention was for the members of the Suicide Squad to be tracking a weapon of mass destruction which would be revealed as Black Adam in a small role for Johnson. 50 But these plans were abandoned when O'Connor left that film in 2018. 51 Dykeel completed a draft of the script by April 2018, when Johnson said there was potential for filming to begin in 2019. 52 At the end of August, Dykeel handed in another draft and further revisions were underway. Hiram Garcia said then that giving Shazam and Black Adam their own films was allowing the best movie for each character to be developed, and he added that their depiction of Black Adam was not going to be softened up for audiences, explaining that he is not the Boy Scout superhero, he's the guy that's like, okay, you cross him, well, I rip your head off. 53 In December, Johnson said filming would not begin until the end of 2019 at the earliest due to his commitments to Jumanji, The Next Level, 2019, and Red Notice, 2021. 54. After the successful release of Shazam, Black Adam became a priority for New Line. By June 2019, Jaume Collet-Serra was in talks to direct the film after impressing Johnson as the director of Jungle Cruise, 2021. 49 Collet-Serra described Black Adam as the Dirty Harry of superheroes, and said the film would show a darker version of Johnson compared to the adventure comedy Jungle Cruise. 55 Johnson revealed in October that filming would begin in July 2020. 56, and announced the following month that Black Adam was scheduled to be released on December 22, 2021. 57 He also said Shazam would not appear in the film, but members of the Justice Society of America, JSA, would be introduced. 58. Pre-production. Johnson stated in mid-April 2020 that filming had been delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and they were now planning to begin production in August or September of that year. 59 By July, filming was expected to begin in early 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia. 16 and Noah Centineo was cast as Atom Smasher. 13 During the virtual DC Fandom event in August, Johnson revealed that the film's version of the JSA would include Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and Cyclone, in addition to Atom Smasher. 9 He explained that Hawkgirl was originally included in the team, but for a complicated reason she ultimately could not be used in the film and was replaced with Cyclone. 61. Rory Haynes and Saravna Shervani had written a new draft of the script by September 10 when Aldis Hodge was cast as Hawkman. 10-11 Collet-Serra discussed his comparisons of the character of Dirty Harry with Johnson, saying the systems were corrupt, so you had criminals taking advantage. You needed a cop that would cut through the bullshit and basically do what needed to be done. That's very much in line with Black Adam and his way of thinking. I think that's appealing to pretty much everybody. Everybody knows how the world sometimes is not fair, and you need people that break the rules to even out the playing field. Johnson remarked that the black in Black Adam refers to his soul, and described his worldview as myopic, adding that for Adam, there's no room or space for him being wrong. There's no room or space for anyone else's opinion. There's only room and space for him to justify anything that he does because of his pain. And he pushes and pushes and pushes and does not see any other way. It's very black and white. 62. The next month, Warner Brothers adjusted their upcoming release schedule due to the pandemic, leaving Black Adam without a release date. 63 Later in October, Sarah Shahi joined the cast as Adriana Thomas. 15 Quintessa Swindell was cast as Cyclone in December 19 with Marwan Kenzari joining the cast in February 2021. 16 Filming was expected to begin that April 16 with the construction of the sets beginning by mid-March. 64 Pierce Brosnan was cast as Kent Nelson/Dr. Fate at the end of March 23 and the film was given a new release date of July 29, 2022. 65 In April, James Kuzati Moyer, Bodhi Sabangi, Mo Amer, and Uli Latukfa joined the cast in undisclosed roles. 27 22 25 28 Latukfa previously worked with Johnson on the series Young Rock 28 while Sabangi's character was described as a key role from the Black Adam comics. 22. Henry Cavill reprises his role as Superman from other DCEU films during the film's mid-credits scene. This marks his first time shooting material as the character since Justice League, 2017. Johnson stated that 7 Bucks Productions, including himself, Danny Garcia, and Hiram Garcia, played an integral role in the renegotiations between Warner Brothers and Cavill. Johnson originally pitched the idea for Cavill to reprise his role to DC Films president Walter Hamada, who rejected the idea due to his plans for different Superman projects. 66-67 With the mediation of Johnson, Cavill, who had been working on production for The Witcher at the time, negotiated a one-off deal with Warner Brothers. Discovery 68-69 and was paid $250,000 for his involvement. 70 Johnson and his team had spent years since 2019 attempting to negotiate with Warner Brothers to include Cavill in the film. 71 By the time it was approved, the ability to include Cavill in any capacity was limited to the credits scene due to the film having already achieved picture lock when the cameo was shot. 72. Filming. Principal photography began on April 10, 2021, at Trilith Studios in Atlanta, Georgia 7374, with Lawrence Sher serving as cinematographer after previously shooting DC's Joker, 2019. 75 filming was delayed from an initial July 2020 start due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 5659 Johnson said on June 20, 2021, that there were 3 weeks left of filming 76, and on July 15 he announced that he had completed his scenes. 77 filming then continued without Johnson for several weeks, with the production moving to Los Angeles 78 and had wrapped by August 15. 79. The mid-credits scene was filmed in parts, with Johnson filming it at the end of a day of reshoots and additional photography. The next part was filmed using a body double, without showing the actor's face. Sher said this version of the scene was included in test screening, to positive reactions, prompting a renewed push to include Cavil. A.D. Johnson approached Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group co-chairman Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi, who approved the idea. The final version of the scene was shot remotely in London in September 2022, a month before the film's premiere, and was overseen by producer Hiram Garcia. 81. Post-production. Bill Westenhofer serves as the visual effects supervisor for the film, after doing so for the DCEU film Wonder Woman, 2017, 82-83, while John Lee and Michael L. Sale are the editors. 84, 85, 86 visual effects vendors included Weta FX, UPP, Scanline VFX, Digital Domain, DNEG, Rodeo VFX, Lola VFX, Cantina Creative, Tippett Studio, and EDIFED Digitali Italiani. 87 Weta worked on the final battle sequence, which contains many shots that were entirely digital. 88. In March 2022, Warner Brothers adjusted its release schedule due to the impacts of COVID-19 on the workload of visual effects vendors. Black Adam was pushed back to October 21, 2022, with The Flash and Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom moved from late 2022 into 2023 to allow time for their visual effects work to be completed. 89. The delay for Black Adam was also reportedly due to reshoots that were scheduled for February 2022 having to be postponed because most of the studio space at Trilith was being taken up by production on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, 2023. Once shooting for that film ended, 90 reshoots for Black Adam began in early May 91 and had concluded early the next month. 92 initially greenlit on a $190 million budget. The final cost of the film ballooned to as much as $260 million due to the reshoots. 5. Collet-Serra confirmed that work on the film had been completed with a picture lock being achieved by July 2022. 93. Final writing credits were given to Steichel, Haynes, and Nashirvani, while an additional literary material credit was attributed to David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who scribed DC's Aquaman, 2018. 94. In October 2022, Ji Min-hoon Soo and Jennifer Holland were revealed to be reprising their respective DCEU roles as Shazam and Emilia Harcourt, the former from Shazam 2019, and the latter from The Suicide Squad, 2021, and the first season of Peacemaker. 95-32. The film initially received an R rating due to several gruesome death scenes, and many cuts had to be made to the film to receive the lower PG-13 rating. 96. Music. Main article, Black Adam, soundtrack. Lorne Balfe, who previously wrote additional music for DC's The Dark Knight trilogy and composed the music for the Lego Batman movie, 2017, composed the score for the film. 97. Black Adam and the Justice Society's themes were released by Watertower Music as singles on September 30 and October 5, 2022, respectively. 98-99, and the full soundtrack was released on October 21. 100. A rendition of John Williams' Superman, 1978, theme is played during the mid-credits scene, which Cavil said was selected over Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel, 2013, theme because it was more recognizable to audiences. 101. Marketing. Johnson promoted the film at the virtual DC Fandom event in August 2020, revealing concept art and narrating an animated teaser for the film as well as announcing which members of the JSA would be appearing. 9. The film's new July 2022 release date was announced on March 28, 2021, with another teaser narrated by Johnson that was aired ahead of an NCAA basketball regional semifinal game and also announced during a takeover of New York's Times Square. Carly Lane at Collider described the Times Square event as thrilling 102, while CNET's Mark Serrels said booming it over a giant speaker in Times Square was a very cool way to announce a movie's release date. 103. The film was promoted at the 2021 DC Fandom in October, with Johnson revealing an opening scene for the film introducing himself as Black Adam. Tom Rayman of Collider was excited to finally see footage from the film after its long development history, and said looks like Dwayne Johnson in a superhero movie, which is to say it looks awesome. 104. Both the Raps Ross A. Lincoln and the AV Club's William Hughes highlighted the short scene's violence. 105-106 while Matt Patches at Polygon compared the footage's tone to the Mummy franchise. 107. In February 2022, more footage from the film was released as part of a showreel for Warner Bros. 2022 slate of DC films, which also included The Batman, The Flash, and Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom, before the last two were delayed to 2023 in March. 108-89 Johnson, Centineo, and Swindell promoted the film at Warner Bros. Cinemacan panel in April 2022, where a teaser trailer was launched. 109 The first official trailer was released on June 8, featuring an orchestral remix of Kanye West and Jay-Z's song Murder to Excellence, 2011. 110 Jennifer Bissett at CNET wrote that the trailer posed Black Adam as a character who must choose between being a hero or villain, and it looks like he takes the darker path, judging by his take on the question of whether heroes kill people. 111 Both Maggie Lovett from Collider and Charles Pulliam-Moore from The Verge also noted Adam's brutality in the trailer. Pulliam-Moore felt that the death of Adam's son radicalizes him and emboldens him to use his newfound powers to seek a kind of justice so brutal that those around him are forced to lock him away. Lovett opined that Adam's morality exists within the gray area between black and white and was excited at seeing the character's future in the DCEU. 112-113 Writing for IGN, Rosie Knight also felt that it showed Adam's tragic backstory, speculating that it could take inspiration from the New 52 iteration of the character, and that it would determine his future actions. 114. Collet-Serra and the cast promoted the film in the 2022 San Diego Comic-Con and revealed exclusive footage for the film. 33 Scotty Andrew of CNN compared the footage to that of Shazam! Fury of the Gods, 2023, calling it somehow even moodier. 115 Charles Pulliam-Moore from The Verge felt the footage depicted Adam as a villain rather than an anti-hero, noting how the Justice Society of America, JSA, seem much more keen on stopping him than trying to recruit him to their ranks. 116. Similarly, Pete Vogt of Polygon also highlighted Adam's confrontation with the JSA. 117 Jermaine Lucie of Gizmodo praised the action sequences in the trailer, calling it an action-packed little sizzle. 118 DC Comics published a series of one-shots focusing on each member of the JSA, titled Black Adam, The Justice Society Files, beginning on July 5 and concluding on October 4. Each issue also features a variant cover of the JSA members as they are depicted in the film. 119 The film partnered with Zoa Energy Drinks for an exclusive edition at the 2022 San Diego Comic-Con. 120. Release. Theatrical. Black Adam had its world premiere in Mexico City on October 3, 2022 121 and had screenings in New York City, Toronto, London, Atlanta, Miami, Madrid and Los Angeles between October 12 and 20, before being theatrically released in the United States on October 21, by Warner Bros. Pictures. 89 It was originally set for release on December 22, 2021 57 but was moved from that date due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 63 it was then given a July 29, 2022, release date. 65 but was moved to the October 2022 date when Warner Bros. Adjusted its release schedule due to the impacts of COVID-19 on the workload of visual effects vendors. 89. Home media. The film was released for VOD platforms on November 22, 2022 122 and on HBO Max on December 16. 123 It ranked first on iTunes for its first 2 weeks of release, and on Google Play and Vudu for the first 4 weeks. 124 125 126 127 It also debuted at the first position on Redbox's digital charts. 128 According to Samba TV, the film was streamed by 1.2 million US viewers on HBO Max over the first 3 days, lagging behind the viewership of many other recent superhero films. 129. The DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K versions were later released on January 3, 2023. The premium version of the VOD release, along with the 4K and the Blu-ray combo packs, includes 10 special features. 123 It was the highest selling title on physical media in the US for the month according to the NPD Group. 130. Reception. Box office. Black Adam grossed $168.2 million in the United States and Canada, and $225.1 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $393.3 million. 6. In the US and Canada, Black Adam was released alongside Ticket to Paradise and the Banshees of Inisherin, and was projected to earn $58 to $68 million from 4,402 theaters in its opening weekend. 131 The film made $26.7 million on its first day, including $7.6 million from Thursday night previews, besting the opening day of Shazam. $20.4 million. It went on to gross $67 million during the opening weekend, the highest of Johnson's leading career, while also ranking first at the box office. 132 133 This was also the 5th highest October opening weekend ever for a film. 134 In its sophomore weekend, the film dropped 59% to $27.5 million, remaining in the first position. 135 During the third weekend, the film grossed $18.3 million for a drop of 33%. 136 In the fourth weekend, it earned $8.1 million for a drop of 56%, while being displaced from the first position by Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. 137. Outside the US and Canada, Black Adam earned $75.9 million from 76 countries over its first 5 days of release. It had the third highest opening for a Warner Bros. Title in Latin America during the pandemic era. In Malaysia, $2.2 million, Indonesia, $2.9 million, and the Philippines, $1 million, it had the highest opening for a Warner Bros. Title during the pandemic. Taiwan, $2 million, had the biggest opening for a Warner Bros. Film in 2022 and the second biggest of Johnson's leading career. In Brazil, $4.9 million, it had the second biggest opening for a Warner Bros. Film during the pandemic, while also going on to generate the 5th biggest opening ever for a Warner Bros. Title in India, $3.5 million. 138 In the second weekend it earned $39 million for a drop of 45%, 139 while in the third weekend it grossed $26.2 million for a drop of 34%. 140 In the fourth weekend it grossed $9.3 million for a drop of 63%. 141 In Japan it opened to a $1.2 million weekend. 142. Several publications described the film as a box office bomb, with The Hollywood Reporter stating that the film will be lucky to break even considering ancillary revenue. 4 143 144 145 146. Variety estimated that it would lose $50 to $100 million against a break-even point of $600 million. Warner Brothers contradicted the claim, stating that the initial break-even cost was $450 million, but that figure had come down due to the growth of ancillary revenue streams from home media and the marketing cost being low. 143 Deadline Hollywood estimated that the film would ultimately turn a profit of $52 to $72 million due to a smaller estimated marketing budget of $80 to $100 million, thanks in part to Johnson's social media accounts handling large amounts of the marketing, increase in ancillary revenues from PVOD and streaming, and no one receiving any share from the box office gross. 123 A later report by Puck stated that several Warner executives suspected Johnson and his team of leaking a purported financial sheet to Deadline Hollywood which contained inaccurate figures, including the marketing budget, exaggerated home entertainment revenue, and an inaccurate interest rate for the film. 147 148. Critical response. Black Adam is described as having negative reviews, with J. Kim Murphy of Variety noting that critics generally found the film to be repetitive and anti-entertaining. 153 On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 39% based on 307 reviews, with an average rating of 5.1/10. The website's critics' consensus reads, Black Adam may end up pointing the way to an exciting future for DC films, but as a standalone experience, it's a wildly uneven letdown. 157. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 41 out of 100, based on 52 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 158 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B+ on an A+ to F scale, while those at Post-Track gave it 4 out of 5 stars. 132. Katie Walsh of the Los Angeles Times wrote, "The director does heroic work crafting a film around Johnson that is fast and entertaining." 159. Writing for Consequence, Liz Shannon Miller gave the film a B grade and said, "On its own merits, Black Adam might feel a little thin in terms of story, but it does deliver plenty of enjoyable moments and a solid ensemble to back up Johnson. But perhaps the most exciting aspect of it is how it might shake up the rest of the franchise going forward." 160. Helen O'Hara of Empire rated it 3 out of 5 and wrote that the film attempts to offer a grand unified theory of DC, mixing family film tropes with a protagonist who straight up murders people. The result is sometimes a mess, but it's a generally entertaining one. 161. Todd McCarthy of Deadline Hollywood praised Johnson's performance and the action scenes, writing, "The visual spectacle just keeps coming at you for 2 hours, and the effects are all so stupendous that you could begin to take it for granted. Practically every shot features something epic or at least unusual going on," and director Jaume Collet-Serra, who guided Johnson's 2021 hit Jungle Cruise, takes good care to present the star in the most favorable dramatic light. 162. Maya Phillips of the New York Times was more critical in her review, calling the film a dull, listless superhero movie that hits all the expected touchstones of the genre under the guise of a transgressive new anti-hero story. 163. Rachel Labonte of Screen Rant gave the film a 2.5 out of 5 and wrote, "Though suffering from repetitive plot beats and thin characters, Black Adam is powered by Johnson's performance and its promise of an exciting future." 164. The Raps Alonso Durold called the film a muddled, overstuffed origin story and wrote, "Most disappointing of all, Black Adam is one of the most visually confounding of the major studio superhero sagas, between CG that's assaultively unappealing and rapid-fire editing that sucks the exhilaration right out of every fight scene." 165. Accolades. Award date of ceremony category recipient result Rev. Black Reel Awards February 6, 2023 Outstanding Breakthrough Performance, Male Quintessa Swindell nominated 166. Golden Trailer Awards June 29, 2023 Best Action Poster Payoff, Works ADV, 167. Best Wild Posts Black Adam, Works ADV. Hollywood Music in Media Awards November 16, 2022 Best Original Score in a Sci-Fi Film Lorne Balfe 168. Irish Film and Television Awards May 7, 2023 Best Supporting Actor Pierce Brosnan 169. Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards March 4, 2023 Favorite Movie Black Adam 170. Favorite Movie Actor Dwayne Johnson 1. People's Choice Awards December 6, 2022 The Action Movie of 2022 Black Adam nominated 171. The Male Movie Star of 2022 Dwayne Johnson. Tar Heel Award. Visual Effects Society Awards February 15, 2023 Outstanding Special, Practical, Effects in a Photoreal or Animated Project J.D. Schwalm, Nick Rand, Andrew Hyde, and Andy Robot 172. Future. In February 2015, Johnson told Total Film that Black Adam would fight Superman or Batman in the future. 173 In April 2017, he stated that DC Films plan to have Black Adam and Shazam appearing in a future film together. 45 Henry Cavill, who portrayed Superman in the DCEU, said in April 2018 that there were plans for Johnson's Black Adam to face off against Superman in the future, though he believed that it will take place after Black Adam and Shazam collide. 174. Danny Garcia stated in May 2021 that Johnson and the other producers plan to make multiple Black Adam films during their long-term relationship with DC. 175 And Hiram Garcia reiterated in July that there was potential for Cavill and Johnson to appear in a future project together as Superman and Black Adam. 176 That November, Hiram elaborated that they had an outline for future films and spin-offs featuring Black Adam and the JSA, dependent on the first film being a success. 177 He later added that other characters beyond Shazam and Superman were being considered as potential future rivals for Black Adam, such as Wonder Woman. 178. In October 2022, Johnson confirmed plans for Black Adam to fight Superman in the DCEU, and reaffirmed plans for the character to cross over with Shazam. 179-180 In a separate interview, Johnson stated that the character will interact with various characters within the DCEU continuity, while there were also options for iterations of characters that exist in their separate universes, namely the Batman and Joker, to cross over through a multiversal scenario. 181 Furthermore, he said that Black Adam serves as the first film in Phase 1 of a new storytelling initiative in the DCEU. 182 Johnson also confirmed that despite the events of the film, Dr. Fate will return in the future of the franchise. 183. Producers Hiram Garcia and Beau Flynn later confirmed to comicbook.com that a sequel was planned and that it was intended to be fast-tracked into production, serving as a build-up to the duel between Superman and Black Adam. 184 Cavill himself confirmed his resumed involvement in the DCEU as a whole on October 24, stating that his mid-credits cameo appearance in Black Adam was just a very small taste of things to come. 185 In December, producer and financier Joe Singer told Deadline Hollywood that he believed the film would turn a profit through PVOD and home media sales, furthermore stating that Warner Bros. Discovery was still in talks for a sequel. 123 Later that month, Cavill announced that he would no longer play Superman, as DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn intended to reboot the character in the future. 186. Also that month, Johnson confirmed that a Black Adam sequel was not in Gunn's immediate plans, though he added that he and Warner Bros. Would continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can be utilized in future DC multiverse chapters. 5 Gunn reciprocated by saying that he looked forward to future collaborations with Johnson and 7 Bucks Productions. 187 In August 2023, Johnson stated that he believed the film did not get a sequel due to multiple changes of the leadership at Warner Brothers Discovery. 188 In November 2025, Brosnan revealed during an interview with the United Kingdom edition of the GQ magazine that Dr. Fate had been originally planned to have his own spin-off television series or film after Black Adam, and that he had heard that he was going to be in the new Superman, still being willing to reprise the role for the DC Universe, DCU. Dwayne Douglas Johnson, born May 2, 1972, also known by his ring name The Rock, is an American actor and professional wrestler. He is signed to WWE, where he performs on a part-time basis. Widely regarded as one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, 6'7" Johnson was integral to the development and success of the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, now WWE, during the Attitude Era. He wrestled for the WWF full-time for 8 years before pursuing an acting career. His films have grossed over $11.4 billion worldwide, making him one of the world's highest-grossing actors of all time. 9-10-11 He is a co-owner of the United Football League. 12-13-14 A member of the board of directors of TKO Group Holdings, the parent company of UFC and WWE. 15-16-17 and co-founder of 7 Bucks Productions. 18. After accepting an athletic scholarship to play football at the University of Miami, Johnson was a member of the 1991 national championship team but was largely a backup player. 19 Despite aspirations to play professional football, he went undrafted in the 1995 NFL draft, and briefly signed with the Calgary Stampeders before being cut in his first season. 20 In 1996, his father assisted in helping him secure a contract with the WWF. 1 Johnson quickly rose to global prominence, aided by a gimmick he employed as a charismatic trash talker. Johnson left the WWE in 2004, he returned in 2011 as a part-time performer until 2013 and made sporadic appearances until his retirement in 2019-21. In 2023, he returned once again on a part-time basis. A 10-time world champion including the promotion's first of African descent. 22 He is also a 2-time Intercontinental Champion, a 5-time Tag Team Champion, the 2000 Royal Rumble winner, and WWE's 6th Triple Crown Champion. Johnson headlined multiple pay-per-view events, including WWE's flagship event WrestleMania 6 times, 15, 16, 17, 28, 29, and 40, Night 1, which includes the most bought professional wrestling pay-per-view, WrestleMania 28, and main event the most watched episodes of WWE's flagship television series, Raw and SmackDown. 23-24. Johnson's first film role was in The Mummy Returns, 2001. The next year, he played his first leading role in the action fantasy film The Scorpion King. He has since starred in family films The Game Plan, 2007, Race to Witch Mountain, 2009, Tooth Fairy, 2010, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, 2017, Jumanji, The Next Level, 2019, and Jungle Cruise, 2021, and the action films Journey to The Mysterious Island, 2012, G.I. Joe, Retaliation, 2013, Hercules, 2014, Skyscraper, 2018, San Andreas, 2015, and Rampage, 2018. He also starred in the action comedy films Get Smart, 2008, Central Intelligence, 2016, Baywatch, 2017, and Red Notice, 2021. His role as Luke Hobbs in the Fast and Furious films, beginning with Fast 5, 2011, helped the franchise become one of the highest grossing in film. 25 He joined the DC Extended Universe by playing the title role in Black Adam, 2022. 26 He has also voiced Maui in the Disney animated film Moana, 2016, and its sequel Moana 2, 2024, and will reprise the role in the 2026 live-action remake. He received critical praise for his dramatic turn as MMA fighter Mark Kerr in the sports biopic The Smashing Machine, 2025. 27-28. Johnson produced and starred in the HBO comedy drama series Ballers, 2015 to 2019, 29, and the autobiographical sitcom Young Rock, 2021 to 2023. His autobiography, The Rock Says, was released in 2000 and was a New York Times bestseller. 3031 in 2016 and 2019, Time named him as one of the world's most influential people. 3233. Early life and education. As a senior at Freedom High School in Bethlehem Township, Pennsylvania, Johnson was a member of the school's football, track and field, and wrestling teams when, he says, his thought process started to change. That's when I started thinking about goals and what I wanted to accomplish. Johnson was born in Hayward, California 3435 on May 2, 1972-36, the son of former professional wrestler Rocky Johnson, born Wade Douglas Bowles, 3738, and Matanyafigai Maliata Adafidis Emanu, née Mavia. 3940. Growing up, he briefly lived in Grey Lynn in Auckland, New Zealand, with his mother's family. 41, where he played rugby. 42, and attended Richmond Road Primary School before returning to the U.S. 41. Dwayne's father, Rocky Johnson. Johnson's father was a black Nova Scotian with a small amount of Irish ancestry. 43, 44, 45, and his mother is Samoan. 46, 47, 48. His father and Tony Atlas were the first black tag team champions in WWE history, in 1983. 49, 50. Johnson's uncle Ricky was also a wrestler. 51. His mother is the adopted daughter of Peter Mavia, who was also a professional wrestler. 52. Johnson's maternal grandmother Leah was one of the first female pro wrestling promoters, taking over Polynesian Pacific Pro Wrestling after her husband's death in 1982 and managing it until 1988. 53, 54. Through his maternal grandfather Mavia, Johnson is a non-blood relative of the Anoa'i wrestling family. 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. In 2008, he inducted his father and grandfather into the WWE Hall of Fame. 60. Johnson attended Montclair Elementary School in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then moved to Hamden, Connecticut, where he attended Shepherd Glen Elementary School and then Hamden Middle School. 61, 62. He attended President William McKinley High School in Honolulu and then Glencliff High School and McGavock High School, both in Nashville, Tennessee, and then Freedom High School in Bethlehem Township, Pennsylvania, in the Lehigh Valley region of the state, where he graduated in 1990. 63. At Freedom High School, Johnson initially struggled and was drawn into a culture of conflict and petty crime. By age 17, he had been arrested several times for fighting, theft, and check fraud, and was suspended 2 weeks for fighting. 64. An article in the local newspaper labeled him a troubled teenager with a history of run-ins with police. But Freedom High School football coach Jody Quick saw athletic potential in Johnson, and recruited him to join the school's football team, where he played defensive tackle, an experience that proved to be a significant personal transformation for Johnson. My thought process started to change. That's when I started thinking about goals and what I wanted to accomplish, he has since said about his high school football experience. 19. In addition to playing football, Johnson also was a member of Freedom High School's track and field and wrestling teams. 37. By his senior year at Freedom High School, Johnson had played only 2 years of football, but was offered a full athletic scholarship from the University of Miami, whose football program was beginning to emerge as one of the nation's top-level NCAA Division I teams. 19. Football career. Dwayne Johnson. Number 94. Position defensive tackle. Personal information. Listed height 6 feet 5 in, 1.96 m. Listed weight 253 pounds 115 kilograms. Career information. High school: Freedom High School, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. College: Miami, FL, 1990 to 1994. Career history: Calgary Stampeders, 1995, **** off-season and / or practice squad member only. Awards and highlights: National Champion, 1991. College career: as he did in high school, Johnson continued to play defensive tackle at the University of Miami, where he was a member of the Miami Hurricanes 1991 team, which won that year's national championship. 65-37. Despite playing 4 years there, however, Johnson found himself behind elite players on the depth chart, including future NFL star and Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee Warren Sapp, and appeared mostly in backup roles. 66-67. In his time at Miami, Johnson played in 39 games with 1 start. He recorded 4.5 sacks and 77 tackles. 67. In 1995, Johnson graduated with a Bachelor of General Studies and a dual major in Criminology and Physiology. 3. He was also one of the university's most prolific student speakers in the Miami area community, frequently delivering positive messages about his own struggles and encouraging students to remain in school and avoid the dangers of drug use. 68. Canadian Football League. After graduating, Johnson was signed by the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League. Calgary moved him from defensive tackle to linebacker. He was assigned to Calgary's practice roster, but was cut 2 months into Calgary's 1995 season. 37-69-70. Professional wrestling career. Early career, 1996. Part of a series on professional wrestling. History. Notable promotions. Notable men. Notable women. Notable tag teams and stables. By region. Styles. Concepts. Culture. Media outlets. Controversies. Lists. Related topics. Vid. After being cut by Calgary, Johnson began his professional wrestling career the next year, in 1996. 37. Veteran wrestler Pat Patterson secured several tryout matches for Johnson with the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, in 1996. Wrestling at first under his real name, Johnson defeated the Brooklyn Brawler at a house show on March 10, 71, 186-189, and lost matches to Chris Candido and Owen Hart. 41. After wrestling at Jerry Lawler's United States Wrestling Association under the name Flex Kavanaugh and winning the USWA Tag Team Championship twice with his partner Bart Sawyer in the summer of 1996, Johnson was signed to a WWF contract. He received additional training from Tom Pritchard, alongside Brockus and Mark Henry. 541. World Wrestling Federation / World Wrestling Entertainment. Intercontinental Champion, 1996 to 1997. Johnson made his WWF debut as Rocky Maivia, a combination of his father and grandfather's ring names, although announcers acknowledged his real name. 72. He was initially reluctant to take this ring name but was persuaded by Vince McMahon and Jim Ross. 54-71, 146. He was given the nickname the Blue Chipper, and to play up his lineage, he was hyped as the WWF's first third-generation wrestler. To a clean-cut face character, Maivia was pushed heavily from the start despite his wrestling inexperience. He debuted on Monday Night Raw as a member of Mark Marrow's entourage on November 4, 1996. 73. His first match came at Survivor Series on November 17, in an 8-man elimination tag match. He was the sole survivor and eliminated the final 2 members of the opposing team, Crush and Goldust. 74. On February 13, 1997, he won the Intercontinental Championship from Hunter Hearst Helmsley on a Thursday edition of Monday Night Raw. 75, 76, 77. Mavia then successfully defended the title against Helmsley at In Your House 13, Final 4 on February 16. Johnson's first WrestleMania match came at WrestleMania 13 on March 23, where he was victorious in his Intercontinental Championship defense against the Sultan. WWF fans started to reject his character and push from the company. 78. He defeated Bret Hart by disqualification in a title defense on the March 31 episode of Raw is War. 79. Behind the scenes, Hart mentored Johnson for his first year in WWF 80 and refused to be booked to take the title from him. 81. On April 20, at In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker, he lost to Savio Vega by countout but retained the title. Audiences became increasingly hostile toward Mavia, with chants of "Die, Rocky," "Die and Rocky sucks" being heard during his matches. 154. After losing the Intercontinental Championship to Owen Hart on the April 28 episode of Raw is War 82, Mavia suffered a legitimate knee injury in a match against Mankind in June and spent several months recovering. 1. Nation of Domination, 1997 to 1998. See also, Nation of Domination. Upon returning in August, Mavia turned heel by lashing out at fans who had been booing him and joining Farouk, D'Lo Brown, and Kama in the stable called the Nation of Domination. 83. He then refused to acknowledge the Rocky Mavia name, instead referring to himself in the third person as The Rock, though he would still be billed as The Rock Rocky Mavia until 1998. The Rock would then regularly insult the audience, WWF performers, and interviewers in his promos. 83. At D-Generation X, In Your House on December 7, Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated The Rock in under 6 minutes to retain the Intercontinental Championship. 84. The next night on Raw is War, Austin was ordered by Mr. McMahon to defend the title in a rematch, but forfeited it to The Rock instead, handing him the title belt before hitting him with the Stone Cold Stunner. 85. 86. The Rock feuded with Austin and Ken Shamrock through the end of 1997 and beginning of 1998. 87. 88. On January 19, 1998, at the Royal Rumble, The Rock defeated Shamrock by disqualification to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Later that night, The Rock entered the Royal Rumble match and lasted until the final two before he was eliminated by Stone Cold Steve Austin. On March 29, at WrestleMania 14, The Rock defeated Shamrock by disqualification once again to retain the title. The next night, on Raw is War, The Rock debuted a new Intercontinental Championship design and would later overthrow Farouk as leader of the Nation of Domination to spark a feud between the two. He then successfully defended the Intercontinental Championship against Farouk at Over the Edge, In Your House on May 31. The stable would then refer to themselves as simply The Nation. 89. The Rock and The Nation then feuded with Triple H and D-Generation X, DX, with the two stable leaders first meeting in the quarterfinal of the 1998 King of the Ring tournament, which The Rock won. At King of the Ring on June 28, The Rock defeated Dan Severn in the semi-final match and lost to rival Ken Shamrock in the final. The Rock then resumed his feud with Triple H, as the two had a 2 out of 3 falls match at Fully Loaded, In Your House on July 26 for the Intercontinental Championship, which The Rock retained in controversial fashion. 90. This led to a ladder match at SummerSlam on August 30, where The Rock lost the title to Triple H. 91. In the latter half of 1998, The Rock saw a big uptick in fan support. The Rock also started consolidating his famous persona during this time, which would last until 2000. 92. The Rock's popularity caused him to be booked in a feud with fellow Nation members Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown, turning babyface in the process. Henry defeated The Rock at Judgment Day, In Your House on October 18 after interference from Brown, effectively breaking up the stable. 93-94. WWF Champion and Rise to Superstardom, 1998 to 2000. See also, The Corporation and Rock and Sock Connection. As part of The Corporation, The Rock feuded with Stone Cold Steve Austin and stole Austin's personalized WWF Championship Smoking Skull belt. The Rock was then entered into the Deadly Game tournament for the vacant WWF Championship. The finals occurred at Survivor Series on November 15, where The Rock defeated Vince McMahon's associate, Mankind, to win his first WWF Championship. 95-96 A double turn then occurred as The Rock turned heel again after allying with Vince and Shane McMahon as the crown jewel of their stable, the Corporation, after the McMahons betrayed Mankind. 95-97 On December 13, at the pay-per-view named after him, Rock Bottom, In Your House, The Rock had a rematch with Mankind for the WWF Championship. Mankind appeared to win the match when The Rock passed out to the mandible claw submission move, but Vince McMahon ruled that since The Rock did not tap out, he retained his title. 97-98. In the main event of the January 4, 1999, episode of Raw is War, Mankind defeated The Rock for the championship after interference from Stone Cold Steve Austin. 99 Then at the Royal Rumble on January 24, The Rock regained the title in an I Quit match, a type of submission match that only ends if one of the combatants says I quit on a microphone. Intended to show a vicious streak in The Rock's character, The Rock hit Mankind in the head with a steel chair 11 times instead of the scripted 5 shots already being risky. Most wrestling matches in the Attitude Era involving steel chairs had at most 2 or 3 shots to the head. After the 5th shot, Mankind was still ringside instead of 2/3 up the entrance ramp where he was supposed to be, and after the 11th shot, which knocked Mankind out, a recording of Mankind saying I quit from an earlier interview was played over the public address system. 101 On January 31, during an episode of Sunday Night Heat, The Rock and Mankind participated in an empty arena match, a match that took place in an arena with 22,000 empty seats where any part of the facility could be used to contest the match. After 20 minutes of chaotic brawling in the ring, the stands, a kitchen, the catering area, an office, the arena corridors and finally a basement loading area, Mankind pinned The Rock using a forklift truck to win the WWF Championship. The two faced off again, at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, In Your House on February 14, in a last man standing match which ended in a draw, meaning Mankind retained the title. Their feud ended on the February 15 Raw is War, when The Rock won his third WWF Championship in a ladder match after a debuting Big Show interfered on his behalf. 102-103 The Rock then lost the WWF Championship to Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 15 on March 28. 104. The Rock's popularity was fueled by his charisma and speaking abilities, which led to many catchphrases and merchandising opportunities. The Rock's popularity continued to grow and audiences still cheered for him even though he was a heel. The Rock then lost the title rematch against Stone Cold Steve Austin at Backlash, In Your House on April 25. 105 The next night on Raw is War, The Rock was fired from the corporation after he was betrayed by Shane McMahon, turning him face again and starting a feud with Triple H, The Undertaker, and the corporate ministry. On April 29, 1999, WWF aired the pilot episode of SmackDown, a term derived from one of The Rock's catchphrases. In the episode, The Rock continued his feud with the corporate ministry. This led to a match with Triple H, at Over the Edge on May 23, which The Rock won 106 and a match for the WWF Championship against The Undertaker, at King of the Ring on June 27, which The Rock lost. 107 The Rock then lost a number 1 contenders match to Triple H, at Fully Loaded on July 25, after interference from Mr. Ass Billy Gunn. 108 The Rock then defeated Gunn in a Kiss My Ass match at SummerSlam on August 22. The Rock was also given the privilege of having his own signature match, like The Undertaker with the Buried Alive match, Kane with the Inferno match and Mankind with the Boiler Room Brawl. The Brahma Bull Rope match, a variant of a strap match, was a normal singles match where the components are tied together with a rope used for cattle farming, and the rope and its attached cowbell could both be used as weapons. The Rock contested this match twice, both times in Texas, versus Triple H in Dallas, and versus Al Snow in Houston. 109. Shortly after SummerSlam, The Rock began teaming with former opponent Mankind, and the two became known as the Rock and Sock Connection. 110. They became WWF Tag Team Champions for the first time after defeating The Undertaker and Big Show for the titles on the August 30th episode of Raw is War. 111. 112. The two performed a number of critically acclaimed comedic skits together, including one called This Is Your Life, which saw Mankind bring parody versions of people from The Rock's past on television, such as his high school girlfriend and his high school football coach, only to have The Rock insult them. The segment earned an 8.4 Nielsen rating, one of the highest ratings ever for a Raw segment. 113. The two lost the titles back to The Undertaker and Big Show on the September 9th episode of SmackDown, and won them back from them on the September 20th episode of Raw is War. 114. 115. The Rock and Mankind then lost the titles to the New Age Outlaws on the very next episode of SmackDown. 116. The Rock and Mankind would win the WWF Tag Team Championship for the third and final time after beating the New Age Outlaws on the October 14th episode of SmackDown, before losing the titles to the Holly Cousins on the October 18th episode of Raw is War. 117. 118. At the Royal Rumble on January 23, 2000, The Rock entered the Royal Rumble match and was one of the final two remaining, along with Big Show. In an attempt at a false finish, Big Show intended to throw The Rock over the top rope in a running powerslam-like position, before The Rock countered the move on the ring apron, sending Big Show to the floor before re-entering the ring as the winner. 119. But The Rock's feet accidentally hit the floor during the reversal attempt, though those watching the event on television did not see that. This was played up in the storyline as Big Show provided additional video footage showing it and claimed to be the rightful winner. The Rock's number one contendership for the WWF Championship was then put on the line against Big Show at No Way Out on February 27, which Big Show won after Shane McMahon interfered. 120. The Rock then defeated Big Show on the March 13th episode of Raw is War, to regain the right to face the WWF Champion, Triple H, at WrestleMania 2000 on April 2nd, in a fatal four-way elimination match, also including Big Show and Mick Foley. 121. 122. Each wrestler had a McMahon in his corner. Triple H had his wife, Stephanie, Foley had Linda, The Rock had Vince, and Big Show had Shane. 122. 123. The Rock lasted until the final two but was eliminated by Triple H after Vince betrayed him by hitting him with a chair. 123. 124. Due to his image at the time, a Magic, the Gathering deck archetype was named after him. 125. Record-breaking world champion, 2000 to 2002. The Rock as the WWF Champion in 2000. In the following weeks, The Rock continued his feud with Triple H and eventually won his fourth WWF Championship, which he won on April 30th, at Backlash, after Stone Cold Steve Austin intervened on his behalf. 126. 127. The following night on Raw is War, The Rock successfully defended his title against Shane McMahon in a steel cage match. On May 21, at Judgment Day, The Rock faced Triple H in an Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee. 128. With the score tied at 5 falls each, and with seconds left on the time limit, The Rock was disqualified when The Undertaker attacked Triple H, thus giving Triple H the 6-5 win and the title. 128. 129. The Rock won the WWF Championship for a fifth time at King of the Ring on June 25 by scoring the winning pin in a six-man tag team match, teaming with Kane and The Undertaker against Shane McMahon, Triple H, and Vince McMahon, whom he pinned. 130. 131. The Rock successfully defended the championship against Chris Benoit on July 23 at Fully Loaded. The next month, he successfully defended his title against Kurt Angle and Triple H at SummerSlam on August 27. The Rock had another successful title defense against Benoit, Kane, and The Undertaker on September 24 at Unforgiven 132. The Rock then lost the WWF Championship to Kurt Angle at No Mercy on October 22, 2000. 133. The next month, The Rock feuded with Ricochet and defeated him at Survivor Series on November 19. 134. The Rock wrestled a six-man Hell in a Cell match for the WWF Championship at Armageddon on December 10, which Angle won to retain the title. 135. On the December 18 episode of Raw is War, The Rock won the WWF Tag Team Championship with The Undertaker, defeating Edge and Christian, before losing the titles back to Edge and Christian the next night at a SmackDown taping. 136. The Rock continued to feud with Angle over the WWF Championship, culminating at No Way Out on February 25, 2001, where he pinned Angle to win the WWF Championship for a sixth time. 137. 138. The Rock then feuded with the Royal Rumble winner, Stone Cold Steve Austin, whom he lost the title to at WrestleMania X7 on April 1 after Austin allied with Vince McMahon, who interfered on his behalf. 104. On the next night's Raw is War, during a steel cage title rematch, Triple H attacked The Rock, allying with McMahon and Austin and helping Austin retain the championship. 139. Austin and Triple H then formed a tag team called the Power Trip. 140. While The Rock was indefinitely suspended in storyline, Johnson used this time off to act in The Scorpion King. The Rock taunting Rob Van Dam at ringside at WWF Raw, October 2001. The Rock returned in late July when the WWF was feuding with rival promotions World Championship Wrestling, WCW, and Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW, during what is known as the Invasion storyline. In reality, WCW was purchased by Vince McMahon and the WWF, and ECW had gone out of business in early 2001. Many former WCW and ECW wrestlers were then brought onto WWF television and formed the Alliance to compete with the WWF in storyline. The Alliance and Vince McMahon then both attempted to persuade The Rock to join their team. The Rock then aligned with McMahon and the WWF. The next month, The Rock defeated Booker T at SummerSlam on August 19 to win the WCW Championship for the first time. 141. 142. The Rock later lost the title to Chris Jericho at No Mercy on October 21. 143. 144. The next night on Raw, The Rock teamed with Jericho to win the WWF Tag Team Championship from the Dudley Boyz. The Rock and Jericho then lost the tag titles to Booker T and Test on the November 1, 2001, episode of SmackDown. 145. The Rock defeated Jericho on the November 5 episode of Raw for his second WCW Championship. 146. As part of the WWF's battle against the Alliance, The Rock wrestled in a winner-takes-all 5-on-5 elimination tag team match at Survivor Series on November 18 where the losing team's company would be dissolved in storyline. The Rock was a member of Team WWF along with Chris Jericho, The Undertaker, Kane, and Big Show. The Alliance's team consisted of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and Shane McMahon. In the end, it came down to a one-on-one between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock seemed to have the upper hand, until his teammate Jericho entered the ring and attacked The Rock. Austin tried to capitalize on this by pinning The Rock, but Kurt Angle revealed his true allegiance by attacking Austin. The Rock then pinned Austin, giving Team WWF the victory and forcing the Alliance to disband. The Rock's WCW Championship was renamed the Unbranded World Championship following the Alliance's loss. 147. At the next pay-per-view, Vengeance on December 9, The Rock lost the World Championship to Jericho, who would then unify the WWF and World titles later that night. 148 The Rock then unsuccessfully challenged Jericho for the now undisputed WWF Championship at Royal Rumble on January 20, 2002. 149. The Rock doing his signature pose before wrestling Hulk Hogan, bottom right, at WrestleMania X8, March 2002. At the next pay-per-view, No Way Out on February 17th, The Rock defeated The Undertaker in a singles match. No Way Out also saw the WWF debut of the famed WCW faction New World Order, NWO, which at the time consisted of Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. 150 This later led to a match between The Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania X8 on March 17. The match was billed as Icon vs. Icon, with both men representing the top tier of two generations of wrestling. Ultimately The Rock pinned Hogan at WrestleMania X8 to win the match. 151 Despite The Rock portraying a heroic character and Hogan a villain, a portion of the crowd attending the Skydome was rooting heavily for Hogan. 152-153 In an interview in 2013, Hogan said he and The Rock changed the style of the match on the fly based on the crowd's response. 154 After the introduction of the first ever brand extension, the WWF held a draft lottery on the March 25, 2002, episode of Raw. The Rock was the #1 overall pick, going to the SmackDown brand before taking a sabbatical from wrestling. 155. The Rock made a surprise return on a June episode of Raw before going to his assigned brand of SmackDown. There, The Rock was named the #1 contender for the WWE Undisputed Championship, which he won for a record-setting 7th time at Vengeance on July 21, by defeating Kurt Angle and then champion The Undertaker in a triple threat match. 156-157 The Rock successfully defended the title at the Global Warning event on August 10 against Triple H and Brock Lesnar after pinning Triple H. 158 On August 25, at SummerSlam, The Rock lost the WWE Undisputed Championship to Lesnar along with the record for the youngest WWE champion, which he had set in 1998. 159 In 2018, writing for ESPN.com, Sean Coyle noted in a retrospective review of the event, that following his victory over Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania X8, The Rock started to see a dip in fan support and that dip turned into a plunge by the time The Rock had his match with Lesnar at SummerSlam because fans knew he was leaving WWE to pursue an acting career. 160 As evidenced by the negative crowd response during his match with Lesnar. 161 After SummerSlam ended, The Rock was visibly angry at the crowd reaction. When he tried to do a post-show speech for the crowd, the fans booed him. He eventually cut a short promo, declaring that Sing Along with The Rock is over. 162. The Rock then took time off to kickstart his acting career. 163. Hollywood Rock, 2003. The Rock defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin, left, in Austin's final match at WrestleMania 19 in March 2003. The Rock returned on the January 30, 2003, episode of SmackDown, to set up another match with Hulk Hogan at No Way Out on February 23. 164 Because of negative fan reaction during previous matches as a result of his budding acting career, The Rock turned heel. He also started a new persona that has been called Hollywood Rock, with a new look and a shaved head. 165-166 The Rock defeated Hogan at No Way Out before moving to the Raw brand. 167 There, The Rock had various small feuds, including one with the Hurricane. 168 The Rock also began performing rock concerts, segments in which he played the guitar and mocked WWE performers and fans in song. 169 After failing to win a #1 contendership for the World Heavyweight Championship, The Rock went into another program with Stone Cold Steve Austin. This led to a match at WrestleMania 19 on March 30, which called back to their previous two WrestleMania encounters, both of which Austin had won. 170 The Rock won after delivering 3 consecutive rock bottoms, ending their long-running rivalry in what turned out to be Austin's final match, until WrestleMania 38. 171 The next night, Raw was billed as the Rock Appreciation Night, in honor of The Rock's victory over Austin. That night, The Rock was attacked by a debuting Goldberg. 172 At Backlash on April 27, Goldberg defeated The Rock, who then briefly left WWE to film Walking Tall. 173. Final Feuds and Departure, 2003 to 2004. On the June 2nd episode of Raw, The Rock joined the highlight reel and attacked Christian and Chris Jericho with Booker T, turning face once again. 174 The Rock would later return on the December 8th episode of Raw to help Mick Foley against La Resistance. In 2004, The Rock aided Mick Foley in his feud against Evolution 175, leading to a reunion of The Rock and Sock Connection. They lost against Ric Flair, Randy Orton, and Batista in a handicap match at WrestleMania XX on March 14, 2004, when Orton pinned Foley after an RKO. 176 This was Johnson's final wrestling match until November 2011. The Rock appeared in WWE sporadically following WrestleMania XX. He made returns to provide support for Eugene against Jonathan Coachman and made a cameo in his hometown of Miami, where he confronted Randy Orton. On the August 23 episode of Raw, he hosted a pie-eating contest, as part of the WWE Diva Search, and ended the segment by giving Coachman a people's elbow. The Rock's contract with WWE then ended and he started his full-time acting career. 177. Non-wrestling appearances, 2007 to 2009. On March 12, 2007, The Rock appeared on a WWE show after nearly 3 years, via a pre-taped promo shown during Raw. He correctly predicted that Bobby Lashley would defeat Umaga at WrestleMania 23 in Donald Trump's and Vince McMahon's Battle of the Billionaires hair versus hair match. 178 On March 29, 2008, Johnson inducted his father Rocky Johnson and grandfather Peter Maivia into the WWE Hall of Fame. 179 His next appearance was through a pre-taped promo on October 2, 2009, during the Decade of SmackDown. 180. Independent Circuit, 2009. On September 30, 2009, The Rock appeared at a World Extreme Wrestling, WXW, show to support the professional wrestling debut of Sarona Snuka, the daughter of his longtime friend and mentor Jimmy Snuka. 181. Return to WWE. Feud with John Cena, 2011 to 2013. The Rock in the ring as WrestleMania XXVII host, April 2011. On February 14, 2011, The Rock was announced as the host of WrestleMania XXVII on April 3, 2011, appearing live on Raw. During a lengthy promo, he addressed the fans and started a feud with John Cena. 182-183 After numerous appearances via satellite, The Rock appeared live on the Raw before WrestleMania XXVII to confront Cena. After he and Cena exchanged insults, The Miz and Alex Riley appeared and attacked The Rock. He fended off Miz and Riley, only for Cena to blindside him with an attitude adjustment. 184. The Rock and John Cena left on Raw, agreeing to a match at WrestleMania XXVII 1 year in advance. On April 3, at WrestleMania XXVII, The Rock opened the show by cutting a promo. After appearing in numerous backstage segments, The Rock came to ringside to restart the main event between Cena and The Miz as a no disqualification match, after it had ended in a double countout. As revenge for the attitude adjustment Cena had given him on Raw, The Rock hit Cena with the Rock Bottom, allowing The Miz to pin him and retain the WWE Championship. After the match, The Rock attacked The Miz and hit him with the People's Elbow. 185 The next night on Raw, The The Rock and Cena agreed to a match at WrestleMania XXVIII the next year. They then worked together to fend off an attack by the Core, which at the time consisted of Wade Barrett, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, and Ezekiel Jackson. 186. The Rock appeared live on Raw in his hometown of Miami to celebrate his 39th birthday. 187. On September 16, WWE announced The Rock would wrestle in a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series tag team match, teaming with Cena at Survivor Series in November. 188. But on the October 24 episode of Raw Super Show, Cena instead suggested The Rock be his partner in a standard tag team match against The Miz and R-Truth, a team called Awesome Truth. 189. Which Rock agreed to the next week. 190. On November 14, during the special Raw Gets Rocked, The Rock appeared live, delivering rock bottoms to Mick Foley, who had been hosting a This Is Your Lifestyle segment for Cena, and later both members of Awesome Truth. 191. The Rock and Cena defeated Awesome Truth on November 20 at Survivor Series, when The Rock pinned The Miz. After the match, The Rock gave Cena a rock bottom. 192. The Rock celebrating his victory at WrestleMania XXVIII, April 2012. Leading up to WrestleMania, The Rock and Cena had several verbal confrontations on Raw Super Show. 193. 194. On the March 12, 2012, episode of Raw Super Show, The Rock hosted his first rock concert segment since 2004, mocking Cena in his songs. 195. On April 1, at WrestleMania XXVIII, The Rock defeated Cena in the main event after countering Cena's attempt at a people's elbow into a rock bottom and pinning Cena. 196. This event broke the record for biggest professional wrestling pay-per-view parade. The following night on Raw Super Show, The Rock praised Cena, calling their match an honor. He then vowed to once again become WWE Champion. 195. On July 23, at Raw 1000, The Rock announced he would wrestle for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. 197. At the event, The Rock defeated Punk to win the title. 198. Punk received a title rematch with The Rock, at Elimination Chamber, where he retained the championship. 199. The following night on Raw, The Rock unveiled a new WWE Championship design, with a different center plate and removable customizable side plates which had his Brahma Bull logo. 200. The Rock then resumed his rivalry with John Cena, who won that year's Royal Rumble to set up a rematch of the previous WrestleMania match between the two at WrestleMania 29, only this time with the WWE Championship on the line. 201. 202. On April 7, at WrestleMania 29, The Rock lost the WWE Championship to Cena, ending his reign at 70 days. 203. Despite being advertised for Raw after WrestleMania, where it was stated that The Rock was still entitled a rematch for the WWE Championship. 204. The Rock did not appear because of a real injury sustained during his match with Cena, in which his abdominal and adductor tendons tore from his pelvis. 205. Johnson underwent surgery on April 23 to reattach the torn tendons. 206. Part-time appearances and first retirement, 2014 to 2023. The Rock, right, confronts Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania XXX, April 2014. From 2014 to 2023, he appeared on WWE shows, most notably in the opening segment of WrestleMania XXX with Hulk Hogan and Steve Austin. 207. At WrestleMania 31, alongside Ronda Rousey, getting into an in-ring altercation with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. 208. And at WrestleMania 32, where he defeated Eric Rowan in 6 seconds, which set the record for the fastest win in WrestleMania history. 209. In 2015, he also appeared at the 2015 Royal Rumble event, where he helped his relative Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble match. 210. 211. 212. The Wyatt family confronting The Rock at WrestleMania 32, April 2016. He also appeared on episodes of Raw and SmackDown. 213, 214, 215, 216. On August 3, 2019, The Rock officially announced his retirement from professional wrestling. 217. The Final Boss, 2024, present. See also, The Bloodline. The Rock and Roman Reigns face-to-face with Cody Rhodes and Seth freakin' Rollins at WrestleMania XL, April 2024. The Rock made his return to WWE on the Day 1 edition of Raw on January 1, 2024. 218, 219. The Rock also appeared on the February 2nd episode of SmackDown, where he confronted WWE Undisputed Champion Roman Reigns after Royal Rumble winner Cody Rhodes decided against choosing Reigns as his WrestleMania 40 opponent to allow The Rock to come out of retirement and face Reigns. 220. This was met by intense backlash from fans who wanted Rhodes to face Reigns, so The Rock turned heel and aligned with Reigns. 221, 222. The Rock with the People's Championship at the 2024 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony in April 2024. He also debuted a new persona that incorporated facets of his arrogant Hollywood Rock incarnation from 2003, such as insulting the audience, wearing gaudy expensive clothes, and entering the arena to a new entrance theme that began with his heroic character's music before transitioning into his Hollywood rock music. 223. Being known as the Final Boss. 224. In the Night 1 main event of WrestleMania XL, The Rock and Reigns defeated Rhodes and Rollins, allowing Rhodes to wrestle for Reigns' title under Bloodline rules. 225. During the Night 2 main event between Reigns and Rhodes, multiple people interfered on behalf of both men, but Rhodes went on to defeat Reigns for the undisputed